Yes. Hello. Although now I see a bunch of names, but that's absolutely fine. Um, Welcome. So I'm Chrissie. Lovely to kind of see you or your names. And so there are a few things I like to say before each class, and um, I will introduce myself a little bit. So I have a chronic pain condition. I have hypermobile joints, which sounds like it would be really cool because I can pretzel myself into all these positions. And actually, I can't. I just have like weird elbows because they bend the wrong way and I hurt a lot. And I'm actually having quite a bad flare up at the moment, so I'm in not insignificant pain. So, whilst our chronic conditions are different, I do still have a kind of understanding of some of the issues you might be experiencing. So, the things I like to say before each session is firstly, if we're doing something and as it was mentioned before, your body does not, cannot, will not do that, it's absolutely fine. Don't worry about it. Or if you're doing it and the movement feels barely perceptible to the human eye, it's fine. As much or as little as you can do, it's completely up to you. Because it can be sometimes you can do movements, I can do things, but I shouldn't because it exacerbates my pain. So if you're in a situation where your body cannot do a movement, or where you can do it, but you know that it will affect you negatively, then by all means visualize that movement. As we heard, the neural pathways are super clever and will generate even without physical movement. Similarly, when you breathe and you think about a certain area and focus on that area, blood vessels dilate more in that area. It's been shown through studies, it's all really amazing. So just because you physically don't look like you're doing a lot does not mean that you aren't getting a benefit, that this is, it's not doing anything. Honestly, it is. And with that in mind, the most important thing throughout all of this is that you breathe. In, out, rinse, repeat. Please keep breathing. It's the most important thing. Obviously, it's quite a bad yoga class if you stop breathing. So I will keep reminding you to breathe because there'll be times when you don't even realise you've started to hold your breath. So you'll probably get sick of hearing me say breathe in, breathe out. So those two things, choosing as much or as little as you would like to do based on how you're feeling right now in this moment, and two, breathe. That's all we need to worry about. So I'm going to go sit in my chair. Oh, she's very elegantly getting up off the floor. Oh. So whatever chair you're sitting on, I'm sitting on a nice hard back one. Maybe you're in an office chair or on your sofa. Doesn't matter. What we want to do is think about being nice and tall through your spine. So you may need to adjust. You may want to sit back and have the back of your chair supporting you. First things first, take a few breaths. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable to, or you can soften your gaze so my view comes kind of a little bit blurry. And just a few breaths. Focusing on that in and out. So there's nothing else you need to think about other than in and out. And we're going to start from our feet, work our way up. As mentioned, we're going to be moving through all our joints getting them nice and mobile. So, starting with your feet, and what we're going to do, come up onto the balls of your feet and then plonk your heels down and see if you can lift your toes up. And switch, so come back and forth, moving through your ankles. And then maybe seeing if you can alternate so that you lift the ball of one foot, the heel of the other, and switch it around. So almost like you're walking, kind of pedaling through your feet. Just a few times each side. And then lifting one foot, I'm going to do my right, and taking a few ankle turns. So in one direction, maybe 3, 4, 5, and the other way. You may notice a bit of restriction, that's fine. And we're going to switch sides. So other foot, and giving a little turn through your ankle. And then when you've done a few, the other way. Oh, I can really notice my left ankle feels much tighter. So if you notice a difference, just notice, it's fine. And then shaking it out and then just seeing if you can scrunch your toes, like you're making little fists with your toes. And then release them out and see if you can spread your toes wide. I'm wearing socks, so I'm a bit restricted by that, but just doing the best you can. It's all we can do. So scrunch and stretch a few times. And then letting it go, maybe giving your feet a little tap on the ground. Working our way up, knees. So again, just checking in, making sure you're nice and supported in your back. All we're going to do is straighten one leg, just as much as is comfortable, and draw it back in. And then the other one. So you're just straightening and bending your knees. Now, if anything about this causes you pain, like that pain, please stop. Maybe not move so much. Or just let it go, we'll be moving on. So one more each side, if that feels okay. And then coming down. So feet, ankles, knees, hips next. So with this one, you can use your hands to support you, or you can just use your leg strength. All we're going to be doing is lifting one knee up, like we're bringing it in towards your chest, and then letting it go, and switching sides. So you don't have to lift your entire foot off the floor, you can just come up onto your toes, or you can draw your knee in as much as is comfortable. And remembering to breathe. So we're going to do one more each side. And then letting it go. We're going to take our knees, so we're coming into a wider leg position. I need to scooch closer to the edge of my chair, and taking your feet, your knees, as wide as is comfortable. So don't worry if it's quite a narrow V, or if it's super wide, whatever works with you. And we're going to do some circles. So just moving your torso around and around. These circles can be quite big, they can be quite small, they can be fast, they can be slow. And when you're ready, we're going to switch up the direction. So coming the other way. And again, you might notice a change in sensation. That's fine. And then coming back up to center and taking a breath here. So working our way up, we're going to go for the side of the body now. So you can keep your feet apart or bring them in, whatever is the most stable and comfortable for you. Your hands can be on your thighs, on your hips, or you can have them dropping down if that works for you. I'm going to have them on my hips and just gently bending to one side and then lifting up and coming the other side. Oh, I'm super tight on this side here. So being mindful of how this feels and just taking a few each way. And then coming back to center, taking a breath. And we're going to go to one side and we're going to hold here for a few breaths. So think about your shoulders being nice and loose. And if you like, you can, so I'm bending to the left, so I'm going to take my right hand and reach up. So thinking about that space you're creating on the one side of your body. A breath here, and then maybe on an inhale, lifting up, and we're going to switch sides, so dropping down the other way. Ooh. Like I said, this left side for me, I can feel it. And again, you can stay here, or if you like, there's an option to reach your hand up. Again, if you notice your shoulders are creeping up towards your ears, you're creating tension, see if you can loosen it out. And then when you're ready, on your next inhale, lifting up, releasing out. And if there's any movements you want to do, feel free to have a wriggle, that's fine. So now we're going to be working more through the spine, and we're going to be doing our cat-cows, our spinal extension and flexion. So I'm going to turn to the side so you have a better view of what we're doing. Hands can be somewhere on your legs, on your lap. As you inhale, think about lifting the chest, arching through your back. And as you exhale, rounding, bringing your chin down towards your chest. And then moving back and forth. So inhale, lift and expand through the front of your body. And exhale, dome, round, create space in the back of your body. And just ripple back and forth. And you might notice, your hands draw up and down your thighs as you do this. That's perfectly fine, that's what mine do. And then maybe one more each way. And coming back to your neutral seated position. And we're going to take a bit of movement through shoulders. So taking some shoulder rolls, rolling up, back and down. And again, a few times in the one direction. And then when you're ready, we're going to be switching directions, so rolling forward and down. Might feel a bit more awkward. Definitely feeling a bit crunchy in my shoulders, I don't know about you. And then when you're ready, letting it go, having a shake. And we're going to move through hands and arms. So starting with your hands, you can have your hands lifted, or if it works better for you, have them kind of on your lap, supported. And I'm going to keep my hands like this so you can see. We're going to touch each finger to your thumb. So taking it in turn and then working your way back. And doing this a few times. Hands, obviously very important, not just for using, mobile phones, but just everything, all important cups of tea and coffee. And then, if you like, I'm not even sure if I can still do this, seeing on the one hand, if you can start with your first finger, and on your other hand, your little finger, and see if you can do them alternate. I have to really concentrate to do this. Oh no, I messed it up. So if you do get a bit mixed, that's fine. Just start again. And I'm going to work back. I think, there we go. And give your hands a shake. Maybe your fingers like you're flicking off water. And then moving through your wrists. So some turns in one direction and then in the other direction. And then seeing if you can turn your hands in the same direction. So if you think about, the luau kind of movement, and then see if you can switch the other way. I find it much more difficult doing it in this direction for some reason. And then again, shaking it off. And we're just going to do up and down movements. So again, you can have your arms out in front of you. This can be a bit more challenging, keeping your arms away from your body. Or you can have your hands in if you prefer. And then if you like, you can take a little pause with your fingertips towards you and maybe gently guide your fingers closer. Feel that stretch. And then switch sides. Fingertips drawing towards you. And again, giving a shake off. And we're just going to bend through the elbows. So you can have your hands down by your side or on your lap, and all you can do is bring your hands towards your shoulders and release them down. And do this a few times, moving through your range of motion in your elbows. And again, if you like, you can keep like this, or instead you can reach your hands out in front of you. Again, it's a little bit more challenging having your hands, your arms away from your body. One more. And then releasing it out. Shake through your arms. And moving through your neck. So we're going to do our yes movements. Again, quick check-in. You still sitting nice and tall, nice and comfortable. Keeping your spine where it is, dropping your chin towards your chest. And then inhale, lift your chin so you're looking up towards, where your ceiling meets the wall. And then drop your chin down. And lift again, so like we're nodding yes. And then coming back to the middle. We're going to say no. So turning like you're going to look over one shoulder and then come back to the middle and look over the other. And just taking it side to side, trying not to rush. Slow, deliberate no. You definitely don't want to do that thing you're being pressured into. Maybe one more each way. And coming back to the middle. So we've done yes, no, and now we're going to do maybe. So dropping one ear towards that same shoulder, feeling stretch along the opposite side of your neck. And then switching sides, lifting up, dropping the other way. And as usual, my left side is much tighter than my right. So gentle move back and forth. And then on this last one each side, you're going to pause on one side, whichever side you're on. And if you like, if you want a bit more, if you feel like you have space, you can take your hand, so my ear's to the left, I'm taking my left hand and just lightly placing it on the side of my head. You don't need to yank, just the extra weight may well be enough or too much. If it's too much, release it. And rolling this other shoulder up, back and down. And we're going to switch sides. So if you have your hand on your head, gently releasing. Other ear to your shoulder. Ooh, super tight this side for me. Same as before, option to place your hand on the side of your head. And this other shoulder, see if you roll it up, back and down, create a bit more space. A smooth breath here. And then gently releasing, coming back. So, there's just one more part we want to do for our little warm-up. We've moved all the way up, and now kind of incorporating more, we're going to have a bit of a twist. So, gentle moving twist to start. You can have your hands on your legs. All you do is you take one hand and draw it back towards your hip as you turn and look over that shoulder. And then come back to center and the other way. So again, you're turning through your back, turning through your shoulder, turning through your neck. And then taking it back to the first side. A breath, maybe two here. And then switching, coming back, going the other way. And then coming back to center. And any movement you want to do, if you want to move through your ankles, your hips. Oh, I don't know if any of you heard that. Sorry, that was my neck that clicked. So, and when you're ready, we're going to do a little bit of work kind of through shoulders and chest. So, opening through your arms. So they can be out wide shoulder height, maybe they're lower down, doesn't matter. Thinking about reaching your fingertips away from you. And this in of itself can be quite challenging, but don't worry, we're going to bring your hand and taking your right hand and bringing it on top to your left shoulder and taking your left hand underneath and maybe coming to the side of your body, or maybe you can kind of reach up to your right shoulder. And it's like you're giving yourself a nice big cwtch, a hug, sorry for those not Welsh people. And I'm giving myself a little bit of a sway side to side. I live on my own, so I need to come up with inventive ways of getting all the cuddles I want. So from here, thinking about dropping your chin down towards your chest. I don't know about you, but I can feel it for me all down my back. And then on your next inhale, you're going to breathe in and open up wide. And take a breath, fingertips still reaching out away from you. And we're going to come to the other side. So this time it's left hand coming up, right hand underneath, and coming for either opposite shoulders, or your right hand can come kind of to your side of your body. And again, maybe giving yourself a little squeeze, a little wriggle, kind of rock side to side. It's fine if your shoulders are all scrunched up, just Oh, almost like bear hugging yourself. And then a bit of stillness, dropping your chin down towards your chest. So even though you're dropping your chin down, you're trying to still sit quite tall. And then when you're ready, next breath in, gonna inhale, reach out, and exhale, drop your hands down. And I don't know about you, but even just having my arms out for that period of time, oh, I can feel it in my shoulders. So let's give our shoulders a bit of a break, and we'll come back to our lower body. So you may want to scooch a little bit towards the edge of your chair, depending on what you're on. I'm going to turn to the side so you have a better view. One leg, whichever leg you want, going to straighten it. So it's as straight as is comfortable. Heel is on the floor, and think about your toes drawing towards you. So you're flexing through that foot. Now, I don't know about you. I can already feel this in the back of my leg, all the way up my calf, my hamstring. It may be the same for you, it may not. If you want a bit more intensity, thinking about your spine being tall, like the top of your head is drawing up towards the ceiling. And then moving from your hips, gently hinging, like you're folding your body over your leg. Ooh. And I only need to fold this far, and it's very intense along the back of my leg. So I'm going to pause here. You may have more movement. You can maybe even like touch your toes. Oh, not for me today. Or it may be a very small movement. Or maybe no movement at all. And then when you're ready, you're going to release out of it. So maybe lift up, bring your leg back in, maybe have a little bit of a shake. And we're going to switch sides. So other leg. And again, just positioning yourself so your heel is on the floor and flicking your toes back. Feeling that kind of activation through your foot, and for me I can feel it all through this calf muscle and my quad and in the back of my leg. So first things first, take a few breaths, thinking nice and tall through your back. Then if you like, there's an option again to hinge, to fold forward. Ooh. As I mentioned before, my left side is much tighter than my right, so I don't need to move hardly at all this side to feel it. So taking a few smooth breaths, whatever position you're in. And when you're ready, on an inhale, releasing out, lifting up, and maybe giving it a little bit of a shake. We're going to work into hips a little bit. So there are a few options here. First one, which you may want to start with, is simply bringing your one leg out to the side. So that may be perfectly sufficient. I can feel it already in my hip. Here, you may be fine to stay in this position. If you feel like you want a bit more, this isn't really working for you, straightening out your other leg and crossing kind of ankle over your ankle. And seeing how that feels, and then maybe having a little bit of a play. You can think about bringing your ankle further up your shin or onto your thigh. Or maybe even bending this knee so that you're in kind of a figure 4 position. But I'm not going to lie, for me today, far too much, far too intense. So I'm going to very inelegantly shuffle back down to a more appropriate position for me today. And taking a breath here and focusing on this hip and the sensations here. And again, you can stay sitting nice and tall. This may be perfectly fine for you, whether you have your ankle on your leg or your leg out to the side. Or as we did in our previous position, you can gently hinge and fold forward, so over the other leg, so not the hip, you're going over the other leg. And notice if or how that changes any sensations. You may notice that mostly you're trying not to fall on the floor. That's also fine. One more breath here. And then as you inhale, lifting, releasing, and switching sides. So, other leg, same options as before. You can just open through that one hip, thinking about your knee drawing away. That might be fine. That probably is fine for me today there, but I will show you the other options. So, ankle across ankle, somewhere up the shin, somewhere on the thigh, and that knee bent. And yes, I can do it to demonstrate, but it feels horrible, so I'm coming back to, actually I'm going to come to this position on this side. So again, focusing your attention on this kind of outer hip area and those sensations. Thinking nice and tall as you breathe in. Maybe staying here, or maybe folding forward over this other leg. So you're thinking about that sensation on your outer hip. I can feel myself creating tension in this hip, so I'm trying to have a breath and soften. It's not really working, but I'm trying my best. And then when you're ready, going to inhale and exhale, release out of it. And maybe again, have a little shimmy, shake. And then going to do a little bit more through the upper body. So again, taking your feet, your legs apart, just as much as is comfortable. Taking a breath and reaching your hands either side. And then turning, so you're going to look over your right hand. If now or at any point this isn't working, feel free to bring your hands to your waist instead and think about your elbows drawing out to the side. A breath here. And then exhale, bring your hands down onto your thighs. With your right hand, turn your fingertips so they're pointing to your inner thigh. Take your left hand, reach it out to the side. And then think about lifting up and maybe gently over. So if you have the space, you can maybe bring your forearm onto your thigh, or keep yourself supported with your hand. And see if you can turn and look up towards either your hand or the ceiling. On your next inhale, think about lifting your body up. Exhale, release down. And we're going to do that the other side. So reaching your fingertips out to the side, and then turning to look over your left hand this time. And taking a few smooth breaths. Maybe think about if your shoulders are kind of creeping up towards your ears, and see if you can let them soften down. One more breath here, and then releasing your hands down. And we're going to do our side stretch, our side angle, the other side. So left hand, fingertips pointing to the inside of your thigh. Right hand reaches out to the side and then draws up towards the ceiling. And again, you can keep supported on your hand or maybe come onto your forearm. Oh, I can, but with my pain, that doesn't work for me. And again, seeing if you can look up towards maybe your fingertips or the ceiling. Taking a breath. And then gently releasing out. And giving yourself a little bit of a roll again through the shoulders. And bringing your feet in. And maybe sitting back in your chair if you've been towards the edge. And just giving yourself a little reminder that it does not matter how high your hand is, how far apart you're reaching, as much or as little as you are able and or willing to do is fine. So, taking a breath. Maybe closing your eyes. You don't have to, you can look at a certain spot, maybe on your carpet or your floor in front of you. Maybe notice your heartbeat. I can feel that my heartbeat has increased, even just doing those small movements. And now there's going to be an option where you can come to standing and use the chair as a support, but it's just an option. You can do it all from sitting, that's fine. So the first option, whether you're sitting or, oh, see, I've cut myself off, coming to stand. Let me just adjust so you can see me. So the first thing we're going to do is, if you're standing, have yourself supported, either both hands on the chair or one hand, depending on how you're feeling today. And all we're going to do is tiptoe rises. So again, you can do this sitting, and as you breathe in, come up onto the balls of both feet, and as you exhale, lower your heels down. So thinking about being tall as you breathe in and lowering down as you breathe out. And there's an option to use one or both hands. So as you breathe in, you can reach one hand out to the side and up, and exhale as you bring it down. Other side, inhale, reaching the other hand up as you come up onto the balls of your feet. Exhale, bring them down. And you can continue to switch sides as you come up onto the balls of your feet. Or there's an option, whether you're sitting or standing, obviously much more challenging standing, to do this with both hands. So as you inhale up onto the balls of your feet and reach your hands up, and then gently come down. We're going to do 2 more. And down. And on this last one, whether you're sitting or standing, doesn't matter. and see if we can hold at the top. So your heels are lifted, your fingertips are reaching up. You're remembering to breathe. And then on your next exhale, gently lowering down, releasing out, maybe giving your feet a little bit of a pedal, your arms a bit of a shake. I'm just going to readjust again so I can see you all and you can see me. So, as I say, you could do that standing or sitting. Honestly, it works either way. So, last thing we're going to do before we have everyone's favourite bit, nice bit of a body scan and progressive relaxation. So we're going to do a little bit more into a twist. So there are options regarding your hands. You can do the same as before, where you draw one hand towards your hip, and switch. Or if you prefer, there is the option to have your arms out in front of you and almost like a bow and arrow. So you're drawing the one hand back and the elbow draws behind you and comes back to center, and the other way. So yeah, if you ever did any archery as a kid or as an adult, it's that kind of movement. And depending on the space around you, there's always the option to the next time you draw your elbow back to then straighten your arm behind you and then sweep the arm around. But obviously this depends on where you are and how much space you have and whether or not it works in your body. So we're going to do a few more of these. Obviously you can stop at any point, especially if you've not got your camera on, because I can't see you. So this is going to be my last one, and then releasing out. We've done quite a lot of work on our upper body, chest and shoulders, so now is going to be the chill wind down bit. So first things first, making sure you are as comfy as you can be. So I'm going to come a little bit closer. If you wanted to have a blanket or extra cushions, anything like that, feel free to do so. And then what we're going to do from here, if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes. Some people prefer that. It allows them to focus more on what's going on inside. You don't have to. If you prefer to keep your eyes open, that's absolutely fine. So wherever you are, taking a few breaths. That's all you need to do. Breathe in and out. In and out. And then we're going to start at our feet. Start at the bottom, work our way up, and thinking about scanning through your entire body. So starting at your toes and noticing the different sensations, or maybe noticing the absence of sensation. And then gently working your way up, just checking in on all the different body parts. So your foot, your ankle, all the way up, your calf, your knees. So at whatever speed you like. And trying to notice not only the kind of strong sensations, the pain, discomfort, tension, trying to take the opportunity to notice the more subtle sensations. softness, looseness, lightness that you might normally miss. So scanning all the way up your body. If you've already scanned up, you can have another sweep again. Maybe you notice something different or something new. So, scanning up your body to the top of your head. And if you like, there's an opportunity to check in on yourself mentally, emotionally. You know, how you're feeling within yourself today. Some people find it helpful to name how they're feeling. Others prefer not to, or maybe you're not entirely sure how you're feeling. That's fine. Again, just noticing how you're feeling. And with the sensations, the feelings in your body and in your mind, all of those feelings are valid. They're not right or wrong or good or bad, they just are. And we try to notice and observe them without judging them, which is a lot easier said than done. We can but try. And so we're going to come back to our feet, working our way up. But this time, with each breath, as you inhale, you're going to create tension in that body part. And then as you exhale, you're going to release it and let it go. So starting with your feet and your toes. The next time you breathe in, scrunch your toes, scrunch your feet up. And as you exhale, let it go. And then thinking about your calf muscles. So as you inhale, tighten through your calves. And then as you exhale, release it. And then your quads, your hamstrings, the tops of your legs. As you inhale, see if you can tighten those up. And exhale, release. And then thinking about your glutes, your bum. As you inhale, squeeze, maybe lift, tighten everything up, and exhale, release. And now all across your tummy and your back. Next time you inhale, you want to brace, tighten, exhale, let it all hang out. And then thinking about your hands, your arms. As you inhale, make fists tighten through your arms. Exhale, release. And then your shoulders and your neck. As you inhale, shrug your shoulders up, create that tension. Exhale, release. And finally, your face, your jaw. As you inhale, clench your jaw, scrunch up your face. And exhale, feel everything soften, that tension release. And just let your breath flow freely. Again, you can keep your eyes closed. Notice how you're feeling in your body, in your mind, in your breath. Perhaps notice any changes. Just breathing sitting. And if you notice your mind wanders, you get distracted, acknowledge that, and then gently guide your attention back inward to yourself, your body, and your breath. Allowing just a few minutes for yourself in quiet, in peace, knowing that this is just for you. You have nowhere else you need to be, nothing else you need to do right now except sit and breathe. And then we're going to invite some gentle movement back into our bodies. So maybe it's wriggling your fingers or wiggling your toes. Maybe it's having a little wriggle around, a shimmy side to side, moving through your head, your neck. Maybe it's having a full body stretch. Oh. She says, stifling a yawn, like it's a brand new day, even though it's only halfway through the day, so we have another whole half to go. And we will close off our session with a breath all together. Now you can make the big hand movements like I do, or you can choose not to, up to you. But all together on your next inhale, reaching your hands up. Exhale as you bring your palms together down to prayer position. Gentle bow, chin to chest.